The lights in your kitchen feel too bright tonight, and the silence between you feels louder than the dishwasher. It's in moments like these that love either frays or learns a new language. That language is emotional boundaries. In the next few minutes, you'll see how the right limits can turn distance into safety and conflict into clarity. Most couples in the US say they value respect and closeness, yet many cross unseen lines every week without meaning to. Research shows it usually happens in small ways that pile up, like a snowdrift that looks soft until it blocks the door. You don't need a spreadsheet to find the problem. You need a conversation that starts with care and ends with choice. Boundaries don't push love away. They protect it. The rules we set around our feelings and our time create the walls that keep the cold out and the warmth in. Welcome to Whispered Hearts, English, where we take big ideas and make them gentle enough to hold. Let's begin with time, because time is the soil where everything else grows. Picture a Saturday morning, sun edging over a row of maples in a quiet suburb, coffee warming your hands. One of you wants chatter and plans. The other wants a slow hour with a book. A healthy relationship allows that hour, and it honors the need without labeling it selfish. This isn't withdrawal, it's fuel. When you both agree that personal time is a valid need, tiny resentments have nowhere to root. Trade a guilt-soaked apology for a clear sentence instead. I'm going to take 40 minutes to reset, and then I'll be fully with you. Here's a thought most people miss, and it can change everything. What if the space you fight about is actually the space that makes closeness possible? Many US therapists say couples repair faster when each person has one reliable place to recharge. Does your relationship already have that place? Or is it still a good idea waiting on the porch? When you add this boundary, name a re-entry plan. Decide how you'll come back together, even if it's as simple as a meeting at the kitchen island at noon for a snack. Clarity is kindness. What would a simple re-entry ritual look like in your life? But there's something even quieter holding love together. It's the boundary around emotional labor. The invisible work of soothing and solving. Partners are not therapists, and therapists are not partners. You can be comforting without being responsible for every wave that hits the other shore. When feelings surge, try a short script that protects both of you. Do you want comfort, a brainstorming session, or just a witness? That question sets a boundary around the kind of help you'll give. It also keeps you from offering advice when what they wanted was a hand on the shoulder. In American life, the commute home can be a pressure cooker in slow motion. Freeways glow with brake lights, and your mind drags every unfinished task through the door. A pre-agreed decompression window keeps that heat from spilling into the living room. Have you tried setting a 15-minute buffer before tackling anything big? But there's a storm that sneaks in through the smallest crack. It's the way we talk when we feel cornered. Conflict language needs limits as firm as a front door in winter. No name-calling, no threats, no bringing up ancient history to win a point today. You can argue with intensity and still protect dignity. Use a stoplight rule for tone and volume. When one of you says yellow, take a breath and slow the car. When someone says red, pause, hydrate, and step away with a clear time to return. What word or signal could you both accept as your red? Repair is where trust grows its roots. Picture a tense evening where voices rose and faces fell. You come back to the couch. You sit at an angle that's gentle and you say, "The way I spoke was not okay. I am sorry. Here's how I will handle it next time." Then you choose one actionable step. like lowering volume or pausing for water, and you practice it together. This is where whispered hearts. English stands at your side, not as a brand, but as a quiet room where you can practice new lines until they feel like your own. You belong in a relationship where words carry care, even when truth is sharp. You deserve safety that does not rely on silence to feel peaceful. But there's another boundary that rarely gets named. It's the respect for a private inner world. Your partner can love you deeply and still keep some thoughts in a journal, some prayers unspoken, some memories tucked in a shoebox. Respecting that space does not weaken intimacy. It makes intimacy feel chosen. Curiosity can be tender. It can also be invasive. When you feel the urge to press, try this pivot instead. Share as much as you want, and I'll honor the rest. That sentence says everything without prying open doors that were never locked. Where could a sentence like that lower the defenses in your home? Think of your friendships as a part of your emotional ecosystem. Healthy love allows outside mentors and confidants with boundaries that keep the partnership central. Set a line against betrayal by humiliation. If you debrief with someone, keep it purposeful and respectful. Are you both clear on who gets the inside story and who gets the highlight reel? But there's a different boundary that shows up at the table with you. It's the line between influence and control. You can request, you can invite, you can persuade with care. You cannot manage each other like projects and expect desire to survive. Values are where this line shines. You may share a faith, a political view, a dream of where to live next year. You may not share it all. Good boundaries allow difference without turning it into distance. Which value do you each hold that needs air, not argument? Imagine autumn leaves piling along the sidewalk while you walk the block after dinner. The air is cool enough for a jacket, and the streetlights are flicking on in the early dark. You talk about money, chores, parenting, or plans for the weekend. Boundaries turn those topics from battlegrounds into maps. Agreements work better than expectations. Expectations live in your head and punish in silence. Agreements live on paper or in shared memory and offer reminders without shame. What tiny agreement could remove a big friction this week? But there's a boundary, as modern as the phone in your pocket. Digital space is an emotional space. It deserves rules you both can live with, not rules that one of you dodges under the table. Transparency and privacy can sit at the same booth if you seat them on purpose. Choose what you'll share and what you'll keep yours. Maybe you trade passcodes as a symbol of trust while agreeing not to scroll without asking. Maybe you keep finances open and DMS private. Maybe you make a social media pact, no posting about the relationship in a heated moment. Which digital agreement would make your home feel calmer by next week? Notifications can feel like mosquitoes on a summer night, always buzzing, always drawing a drop of attention away. Decide how you'll guard your focus. No phones during serious talks. No texting during the first 10 minutes of reconnecting after work. No surprise location checks unless safety requires it. What device rule would help you feel more present together? But there's another force that tests boundaries every day. It's stress. You'll face job shifts, health scares, moves across town, and family crises. Spring rain on the window can feel hopeful. In other seasons, it can feel like one more thing to manage. When stress spikes, emotional boundaries keep you from turning on each other. Create a crisis plan while you're calm. Make choices about sleep, food, errands, and how you'll signal when you are at capacity. Which signal would save you from a preventable fight this month? Here's a simple picture of emotional self-responsibility that many US couples use. When you feel flooded, say so and name your need. I'm over my limit, and I need 20 minutes to ground. Then follow through by returning when you said you would. That loop builds reliability faster than 1,000 promises. Touch belongs here too, because touch carries feelings. There are moments when you are touched out from parenting, work, or plain old life. Healthy boundaries in love mean you can say, I want closeness, but not pressure. You can say, hold my hand while we watch this show. Then let's check in about the rest. Desire likes safety. It also likes honesty. You can create a rhythm that respects different pacing without turning intimacy into a scorecard. Try a standing check-in where you talk about what you enjoy and what you don't, without blushing your needs off the table. What would it feel like to name one tiny preference tonight? But there's another boundary that protects the dream you're building. It's the line around your shared future. You may want grad school while they want a small business. You may want a city skyline while they crave a yard and a swing. You can set a boundary that no major decision is made in haste. Use this rule of life decisions. No ultimatums, only timelines and information. Gather facts, map options, then choose with both hearts present. If you need a deadline, make it mutual and kind. What long-term choice is asking for a calmer process right now? When you add these lines, you'll feel resistance at first. That's normal. Boundaries are not concrete walls poured in one day. They're fences you move until they fit the shape of your actual life. On a crisp winter morning, the house is quiet except for the heat clicking on and the coffee machine humming. You look across the table and see the person you chose. The person who chose you. You want a way to stay close when stress rises like frost on the glass. This is where structure sets you free. Set office hours for serious talks and use the rest of the day for being teammates. Make repair appointments after arguments instead of waiting for perfect conditions. Speak to your partner the way you want the world to speak to them. But there's one more quiet rule that strengthens everything else. Consent isn't only about bodies, it's also about feelings and information. Ask before offering hard feedback. Ask before telling someone else's story. Ask before giving advice that could land like sandpaper. You may be surprised by how often a simple ask dissolves defensiveness. Is this a good time for me to share a concern? Are you open to a suggestion, or do you just want me to listen? Can I vent for 5 minutes and not problem solve yet? Which question would lower the temperature in your next tough talk? When you live this way, trust grows like a garden that finally gets the right light. You'll still have weeds to pull. You'll still have dry days and too much rain. You'll also have tomatoes that taste like July and a patio that feels like a promise. People sometimes worry that boundaries will make them distant. The opposite is true. Boundaries let you bring your full self without fear of being swallowed. That is the soil where real attachment thrives. Think back to the last time you felt misunderstood. If you could rewind 2 minutes, what boundary would you set? Time for yourself. A language limit. A request for the kind of support you wanted. Imagine how that one move would have changed the scene. You can start as small as a sentence and as big as a weekly ritual. You can agree on quiet mornings on Sundays or phone-free dinners on Tuesdays. You can set a boundary that says, we do not embarrass each other in public, and mean it. Which boundary has helped your relationship the most, and which one will you try next? But there's something even more grounding beneath all of this. Boundaries are not punishments. They are invitations to meet where trust is possible. When you walk toward each other with that spirit, even the hardest conversations soften around the edges. Here at Whispered Hearts, English, we hold this steady truth. You are not asking for too much when you ask for clarity. You are asking for the very conditions that let love keep its promise on ordinary days. You have permission to protect your heart with wisdom and tenderness. Picture a summer evening with crickets in the grass and laughter from a neighbor's porch 3 houses down. You lean against your front door after a long day and breathe. You know what you need, and you know how to say it. You are learning to listen when your partner says it too. The kitchen won't always be quiet. The freeway won't always be kind. But your agreement with each other can be. It can be consistent. It can be kind even when it is firm. As you step back into your own life, take this with you. Emotional boundaries are not a barrier to love. They are the lane lines that keep you from colliding when the road gets crowded, and they are the map that keeps your relationship headed home.